Sony and Nintendo are learning the same tough lesson. Raising console prices is a quick way to tank your sales. Welcome to Inside Games Daily, the only gaming news show brave enough to say, maybe if you raise prices, you'll not sell as many.
The brave economic lesson of, yeah, no shit. Yeah, the new sales figures from the UK and Japan suggest a recent price hike for the PlayStation 5 and the Switch have hit hardware demand relatively hard, with both companies seeing sharp declines after consumers rushed to buy systems before prices went up.
Yeah, so let's start in the UK, where we don't have exact numbers, but we have percentages. But PS5 sales reportedly fell by 50%. That is crazy in May, following Sony's latest price increase of about $100 of the base PS5 and a whopping $150 for the PS5 Pro.
Man, games business journalist Chris Dring said the drop was so steep that Sony's console only managed to outsell Microsoft's Xbox Series X and S by about 400 units. Wow, look at that. Xbox does nothing and wins.
For the first time in their history, yeah.
Yeah,
it must have been the rebrand now that it's in all caps. You can't buy a PlayStation 5. There's so many lowercase letters in that name. It's so stupid. Yeah, this is pretty intense. I don't think we've ever seen the Xbox outsell the PlayStation 5 or even come close. So the fact that it was within spitting distances is really something.
Yeah, and part of that decline may be because a lot of people bought their consoles before the higher price took effect. There was some telegraphing. So yeah, effectively pulling those sales forward, and then you get an even more dramatic price drop off after the sales increase takes effect. But still, it's big.
Yeah, at the same time, Xbox actually saw a 12% sales increase, helped by anticipation for Forza Horizon 6, which is a great video game. So they purchased the console, then they got the video game, and now they're actually having a lot of fun with Xbox.
Oh, Xbox managed to ship a game and sold some consoles too. Who knew? Again, a lot of this is just like, yeah, I guess ship a good game and don't raise prices and people will buy your console. Great. In additional no shit news, when Dring was asked if the PS5 price increase had an effect on sales, he replied, quote, "A massive one."
Yeah, and now let's go to Japan, where Nintendo was born as just a little stack of playing cards. They're seeing a similar story. Famitsu's latest hardware charts show Switch sales falling also dramatically after their recent price increases took effect on May 25th.
Those increases actually really hurt the Switch 2 in Japan, which sold 31,751 units during the latest reporting period. That's still enough to remain Japan's best-selling console, but it was a massive 87% decline from 247,000 units sold the previous week. That is crazy.
These numbers suggest many consumers are far less willing to open their wallets once those higher prices arrive. But also, I think the price hikes for both companies kind of arrived in a bit of a software lull on purpose. They chose the widest gap in their big banner releases that they could to push their stuff out. So what I'm curious to see is what are the software releases they think will justify it. I think with PlayStation, it's Wolverine, GTA 6. That I think they kind of understand that. For Nintendo, though, who knows? Because they haven't told us yet. So I'm curious what their 27 lineup will be. It's probably going to be like 18 Pokemon games, and they're all going to sell millions.
Although we have a new Mario Galaxy movie, it seems like console sales always go up during those times. I don't know. And yeah, we all know the reason for the price hikes, rising component costs, tariffs, broader economic pressures. Those are squeezing manufacturers. And as a result, Sony and Nintendo face a difficult balancing act. They got to protect their profits without scaring away people with a giant price tag and then raising it by $100 a few months later. So this is kind of a no duh, but these drops still are massive.
I think you can, I'm going to predict it right now, guys. In September, when the Switch 2 goes up in price, the sales will go down. I know, it's like I'm Nostradamus over here. But I promise you, September is when that price goes up for the Switch 2 here in the US, and they will see a decline in sales, especially if the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. Who knows what that's gonna be. Our fearless leader has not figured that out yet either. So that's fucking up a lot of stuff, just in addition to video games. And this is just generally, I think I've been saying this lesson now for 3 years on Inside Games. McDonald's raised their price during the pandemic. And they did it for a couple of years. All of a sudden, they came back and they went, wait a minute, people aren't buying McDonald's. Oh, we need to lower the price. They learned their lesson. They had to lower the price for people to come back and spend money at McDonald's. It's still expensive there, but it's lower than it was. And I think Sony and Nintendo are going to have to learn that exact same lesson. I don't think that they're going to get only the rich people buying their console, and then all the executives at Sony and Nintendo are going to be like, oh, great, we still made money. They're going to make way less money. And let me tell you, executives hate making less money.
Yeah, and I still feel like a lot of people still have their PS4s and original Switches with big libraries that they may have not seen a big reason, like y'all were saying, like a big game to sell them on a Switch 2 or a PS5. So I don't know. I don't know if anybody's gonna pay $100 more for Mario Kart World, or it just doesn't seem like there's a system seller for either of them. So yeah, it makes total sense. I wouldn't do it. I'm glad I bought both beforehand. I sure as hell wouldn't do it now.
Yeah, but when GTA 6 runs around, you're gonna have to buy something. I mean, we're all enslaved, and I admit that I don't have any free choice in this regard. And I think Pacopia was one that actually managed to move some Switch 2s. So there are games out there that will entice people to buy. I think it's the adjacency to a price hike. It's the perception of like getting a good deal versus not, which that's like a new dynamic that really sucks. Is the like now it feels like with hardware, if you don't buy it as soon as possible, you will get screwed, as opposed to the complete invert. It used to be the opposite. If you were patient, you could save money. Now it's like, if you're not snapping it up on day one, it could raise in price in a week. And that means you've got to fight all the bots and the scalpers and stuff. And for new products now too, if something's getting scalped, it's hard to even make that equivalence anymore. Like I could pay the scalped price because that's what it's going to be in a few months anyway. So I don't know. It's a bummer. I think it fuels more unhealthy consumption habits. Because software still kind of behaves, for the most part by this rule that the older a game is, the better in quality it'll tend to be because it's been patched, and it tends to be lower in price. You could usually tend to rely on that with hardware as well. They would do iterations on consoles, release a Slim or whatever that's quieter, got a better fan, components fail less because they've learned from their first gen. Now who even knows? Now it's just going to go up in price. It's going to be the same model, and that sucks. That sucks a lot. It also, it kind of inverts the usual model of like you release at a good banner price to get the early adopters who are willing to pay a higher margin, and then you nick it down in price, and every step along the way you hit a new group that couldn't afford it at a higher tier. And now that they're down here, now they can get into the game and start playing. Now who even knows? Now it's just for people that have credit cards and are willing to like run them up to get something as fast as possible. I'm not quite sure where that dynamic ends, but it doesn't seem wholesome. And yeah, it seems like it's tapering off instead of broadening out, which is what we want it to do. Unfortunately, it leaves all those people for stuff like Roblox, and they're just getting scooped up into this other ecosystem that seems to be a lot less healthy, a lot less sustainable. It's just got an ick. It's got a stink.
Yeah, it's weird that gaming hardware is like turned into Bitcoin. It's like, well, if you had bought it 5 years ago, it was a lot cheaper back then. It's so weird. And you're right. Now it's like, people, what are they going to turn to their phones or just the free-to-play garbage like Roblox? Yeah, it's depressing.
Brian, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what they're doing. I mean, mobile gaming is making more money than ever. I think it's making more money than PC and console combined because people already have a phone. They could play for free, and then they'll be like, oh, I'll only spend a couple bucks on the mobile game, and they end up spending 100, right? That's what they're doing. They are doing that instead of playing the new God of War or the new Mario Kart or whatever, because those prices are going up and they're seeing $500, $700 on the front end. And they're like, I got my phone. I can play this free game on my phone for hours and hours and hours. Maybe put in a couple bucks and still have a great time or whatever, rather than spending $700. So this is really bad for gaming all the way around.
I have a slim hope that with miniaturization and maybe that new chip that Nvidia announced, who knows? I really hope that we can get some like $300 or $400 like PC toasters, just real beater game consoles that maybe only run at 1080p, but they can't access, PC free-to-play games, but they can do emulators. So you get like at least a vast array of games that you can play at a decent level for not a lot of price, but at least you can get into this better ecosystem of more honestly formed games versus, all the free to play stuff, mobile games that are essentially just, reskin slot machines, or Roblox games that are also reskin slot machines that children can play. So I as an aging gamer have much more fond thoughts of people finding a library of Super Nintendo ROMs to tool around with versus whatever they stumble into on Roblox. But I'm realizing now I'm kind of talking. Yeah, that's old man talking. That's old man shaking fist at cloud, I guess. But I still think that's probably better.
Yeah, I do feel like mobile and all that stuff, it's like just eating cotton candy constantly. And at some point, like, not to call God of War or GTA vegetables, that sounds weird, but I do feel like that's a more filling meal. That's a more
steak.
Satisfying.
It's steak, Brian.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it's a nice filet mignon, and you eat that and you feel great, and you don't feel terrible for having spent $1,000 on it in a year. So yeah, I do hope they get it under control, because I love just a nice first party game that feels great and that you get all the achievements, as opposed to just playing Clash Royale or some bullshit just because it fucks with your brain because they hired a psychiatrist to develop it.
It's also a gateway drug to Kalshi and Poly Market.
Yes.
Stay the fuck away from that shit, by the way. You don't want any of that. Jeez. Thank you very much for watching Inside Games. Please check out our Patreon. You don't have to gamble with the Patreon. You just drop $5 in. We'll probably make more content, most likely. I would imagine. That's usually what we do. So thank you very much for either subscribing or watching on YouTube, or even supporting on Patreon, like Tyler King, Overly Sarcastic Productions, and Hero of Nern. Maybe I should have them do a $100 microtransaction, and then we can send them a nude picture of Lawrence.
We could add a headshot tier. You got me thinking now.